And it's no secret whether guys want to admit it or not, every man wants to be somebody's hero. Every man, the only difference in men, or let me put it to you like this, every man wants to be significant. The only difference in men is how they go about pursuing that significance. Some pursue it by sports, some pursue it by womanizing, some pursue it by making the most money that they can, some pursue it by having the most toys, but every man wants to be significant. The only difference is how they go about that pursuit. So we want to talk about the teaching series, Becoming a Man Who Matters. Becoming a Man Who Matters. Now, before we even get into this content, I just want to make several statements about men. And I believe that these statements will really help you understand just the challenges and the issues that men face. Challenge number one for me, by my observation, bar none, is most men are lone rangers. Most men are lone rangers. In other words, most men don't have anyone that they can be totally vulnerable and transparent with. Now, this is very important because the reason why most men are lone rangers is because the thing that men fear most is showing weakness. The thing that they fear most is showing weakness. So in light of that desire to keep up a facade or keep up a front or an image, most men won't be transparent with about the issues that they're dealing with. So as we get into the discussion, the first thing I want to just address is the issue that most men are lone rangers. They don't have anyone that they can be totally vulnerable with. They don't have someone that they can be totally transparent with. Because in the back of their mind, they will get to a certain point and then they'll stop sharing. Why? Because of the fear of lost respect. They want to be seen and they want to be perceived in a certain light. And generally, we live in a culture where it's not really culturally acceptable for men to show weaknesses. I mean, I played sports from the time I was 5, and as soon as I fell down, what's the first thing they say? Get up, Chris. Suck it up, Chris. Get up. Come on. And you hear that all through life. In fact, in the sports world, they study teams to exploit weakness. It's football season. They want to know that they have scouts, and the whole purpose of scouts is to find weaknesses in the opposing team and to exploit them. So we really want to get our arms around this, because one of the most beneficial things, if you're going to become a man who matters, if I'm going to become a man who matters, I have to understand the criticality of male friendship. Male friendship. And notice I said male. Now, just from the jump, let me give you a couple of reasons why male friendship is so critical if you're going to become a man who matters. Number one, men validate the experiences of other men. What do I mean by that? In other words, when you're in the company of men, not a mixed room, but men alone, when you're with an accountability partner, when you're with a trusted person, if you're fortunate enough like me and you can have talks with your father, men can validate the experiences of other men and let them know, here's the key, that they're not alone in their fears, in their insecurities, and in their desires. And most importantly, they can reassure them, this is the key, they can reassure them that there's nothing wrong with them, so to speak, for the way they're wired. God made men wired one way and he made women wired another way, so that as the two become one flesh, they can bring their strengths together and lead a family. I just got married recently. In fact, I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary, October 11th. And when you look at marriage, mothers impact or influence the child emotionally. She has the biggest impact on a child emotionally, but fathers have the biggest impact on a child philosophically. So if you'll listen to people, even women, you'll say, You'll see someone and she'll say, maybe she's a star athlete, a successful businesswoman, a politician or something, and she'll say, well, I learned my work ethic from my father. I watched him do 2 shifts. I watched him come home and be tired. I watched him, he impacted them philosophically, but perhaps the more tender or emotional or softer side they got from their mother. So it's important because when you're in the company of men, they can validate and reassure you that your wiring is not wrong. We have a teaching series called Biblical Masculinity, and we're going to in that teaching series and in segments of this teaching series, I'm going to show the masculine side of the gospel that doesn't get talked about a lot. But if you unmask and unearth and examine the Bible characters, you can see the male Bible characters, you'll be able to see the connections very, very quickly. So it's important because men can validate the experiences of other men. And it's so critical to get in all male environments because men need environments where they can be transparent without fear of being thrown under the bus. I mean, if I was to sit up here and go, oh, I don't know how we're going to pay our bills and what happens if Melanie and Sweet Pea don't eat, you'd be looking at me like I was crazy. I don't have that luxury. I can't just come in here and fall out and have a breakdown. You guys would be looking at me cross-eyed. You'd be like, come on, Chris, man up. You got 100 series, go listen to one. Your response would be man up. So we don't have places where we can go and really share what we're dealing with. I can tell you, I'll give you a perfect example. I was in the gym about 5 years ago, and this is just a maintenance man in my building who happens to know I'm a believer. And I was on the life cycle just working out. Don't even know the guy that well. I know him by longevity, but not depth of relationship. And all of a sudden, he goes, hey, do you have a minute? And then he just started talking about the stress he was under because his wife's in a different place, different city. He's in New York, but he can't afford to leave his job. It wasn't 2 minutes before he broke down into tears and grabbed me. And I couldn't help but wondering how long he had been carrying that. And I was the first person. I'll give you another example. I played golf recently. I had one of the most memorable experiences. I will take this to my grave. And I was playing golf. And for those of you who know about my golf game, you know that a lot of times I like to go out, since Mel's pregnant, I like to go out late in the day and I'll play by myself or work on shots, and it's a way to decompress after working all day. So the weather was gorgeous. The whole scenario was set for me to have my ideal golf day. And then all of a sudden I look behind me and I see someone in a cart approaching me. So out of courtesy, as the gentleman got closer, I said to him, you know what, play through me. I said, I'm just here practicing. He goes, no, I'm in no rush. I said, no, just play through me. He said, no, I'm in no rush. He goes, I'm 81. I don't have anywhere to go. So I looked at him, and every fiber of me wanted to say, oh, man, let me just go on. But I felt like God was tugging on me and say, break your routine and make time for him. So I said, come on, let's play. So I hit my ball, then he hit his. And I said, wait, good shot, Jim. He goes, where'd it go? I said, it's straight here. He goes, oh, I'm blind in this eye and I can only partially see out of this one. So it's hard for me when I play golf because I can't keep up with my balls. Then I started seeing my father in him. So then all of a sudden he goes, how many years have you been playing? I said, I've been playing 15 years. Jim, he goes, Chris, this is my 61st season playing golf. So then we're talking, this happens all the time, not to this degree, and I knew it was coming. I just knew it because I'd been in this position before. He goes, my wife died 10 years ago at 58, and he just started bearing his soul and just talking to me, a total stranger. And then I felt the Lord saying, minister to him. So I just said, Jim, you're such an inspiration. I said, I hope when I'm 81, I'll be able to play golf. And We had just the best fellowship. It was only for about 4 or 5 holes. So we get to the last hole, and the 18th hole, but it's still light out, so I can keep playing. So I was going to go back around the first. And all of a sudden the Lord said, ask him, does he want prayer? So I said, Jim, can I pray for you? He goes, you want to play with me?